Hey guys, Arcus here. And for today we have some news about the commandments, the Final Boss commandments that are coming in the middle of April. But before we get started, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want to get notified when my videos go up. Now then, so we have Final Boss Melascula and then Final Boss Galland are both in the files in the game currently. And we're going to take a look today at possibly what to expect and how hard it's probably going to be. I'm thinking that honestly this is going to be the first phase. It's going to be, he's probably going to have a buff card. And he's going to have Gallant's Amplify here, plus he's going to have a Gallant's Bleed card. That's probably what's going to be, so I'm thinking. So what Galland does, his passive is called Galland Game. He targets one enemy specifically, and that enemy cannot use debuff type skills on him, right? And they can only attack Galland. So he's probably going to have some two secondaries enemies, and then have him, or it could be like, since they're both final bosses in the game, it could be a duel between Melascula and Galland with both of them. Why do you think that? Because you remember in the anime, right? Anime/manga. When Galland and Melascula were first introduced, they were in pairs with each other. Because they go fight Escanor, right? They were chasing down Bon, Elaine, and Jericho. And then they ran into Escanor, and that's where Escanor was induced, right? So they could actually be doing the commandments as pairs, as they were shown in the anime/manga. So it could be both Melascula and Galland, where Galland does Galland Game, targets one of the units where they can only target him and never hit Melascula, right? That's probably what his, this is going to be the first passive. And of course, I don't know if the commandments are going to be applied or not, and who knows? I honestly don't know. If the commandments are applied, it means Gother's unusable, basically, for this. At least his rank up is unusable. His pass can still be used, but you're still going to have those singular cards that are going to be worthless, right? Because they petrify Gother and leave him vulnerable and unable to be used. He has an Amplify card, and his second card is an AoE Bleed card. And then, of course, his ult increases his basic stats, and then he does a lot of damage on enemy. It's the single target version of Assault Mode Meliodas' ult. And if you'll take a look at Red Galland, his passive, it probably will stick to being this passive. Being his Galland Game passive rather than this passive, in all honesty. Or it might be this passive first phase, and in second phase he'll switch to red along with Melascula switching to red. And this will become his passive, to where they get a buff because they're strength type enemies. And his first card is a Shatter single target, and his second card is a Remove buff / stances single target. And of course his ult is the exact same, and his commandment is the exact same, right? So let's go take a look at Melascula. So Melascula, what Melascula does, both Melasculas, let's go open here and here. This is what I think the first phase. First phase is going to be copy this Melascula, right? Because it's going to be these two first phase, and then the red one second phase. So first phase, you know, she increases her basic stats for each order filled in the ultimate gauges of everyone. Both her, Galland, and then all of your units, right? And it's by 1%. So it can get up to a maximum, if they are a dual final boss together, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25? So 25% is the highest you can get with that. Her first is a Infect card, right? It's a single target Infect card. Her second one's an AoE Detonate card. And of course her commandment, if you don't use a skill, you get 2 ignites put on you for 5 turns, right? It is, does say in PvP. Same with this. Doesn't? Oh, this does say PvP. Okay. This does say PvP. But I honestly think that this is going to not, you know, it's going to actually apply, right? I'm thinking both commandments, if they're going to be dual final boss, they're going to apply. That's probably what's going to happen. And then her ult is a single target, and it does a lot of damage, plus it also life steals a lot of damage that's dealt, right? Let's go into Red Melascula. Red Melascula's passive is the annoying one here, right? So that means that if this is Red Melascula and Red Galland's in the second phase, you're going to have to kill Red Melascula first. Because that passive makes it to where you cannot kill another ally. So basically what happens is that if you say these two are dual final boss, right? and you try to kill Galland without killing Melascula first, her pass is going to activate, and then Galland becomes invincible for 3 turns, or you kill Melascula. Whichever happens first, right? Her first attack card for Red Melascula is a single target Blaze card. Blaze does 25% damage per ignite on the target, right? So it goes along with her commandment. And her second card is a healing card. It inhales part of your max health and then heals her. This is basically a guaranteed full heal. This usually full heals you if you use this card, right? And then her, her ult's the same and everything. Of course, her commandment's also the same. This I expect to come out in probably mid-April, somewhere around there. Is because they say it's gonna come out in April, right? So I'm assuming that Final Boss Jericho and Gulia are gonna come out probably next week, with them lasting till probably like the first or the 8th, and then Final Boss Galland and Melascula are gonna come out around these 2 weeks right here, in between here, right? That is if they put them together. I'm assuming that since they're both in the game, they're probably going to actually put them as pairs to represent what they did in the anime. These final bosses probably... They could be actually very tough, right? Because normally with final bosses, like a lot of them usually, we do a Dare strat, right? You do a Dare, you basically do a Dare ult in the second phase and end it, right? You can't necessarily do that with this final boss if it is a pair. They probably also won't do... They might actually do extra damage to humans, in all honesty. That's what I'm thinking they might do. Either humans... I don't think they'll do extra damage to demons, right? They probably won't do that. They'll probably do extra damage to humans, right? Because normally, what they did put in 300% extra damage to demons. They try to stop people from using Dare. But people just push through it and just continue using Dare just to get done with everything, right? That's like, because Dare's always been a viable strat for every single final boss except for Bond. Because, with Bond, it's like with Galland and Melascula being a pair, it's like Bond and Elaine. You can't necessarily... Dare is not the best way, because Bond constantly gets revived, taunts you, while Elaine constantly takes away your ult gauge, right? So Dare is not too much of a viable strat there. They get high scored. I don't think Dare is going to be high enough strat here, because especially like it's going to be a lot of RNG, because you could get like a really good run to where you get all the cards you need, but Galland game affects you, so you can't actually do any attack Melascula at all with Dare. So your Dare ult's useless, right? And until you kill the Melascula. But Dare needs to attack every single turn. It's all a mess that could happen, right? I'm actually quite looking forward to this. I'm very much looking forward to the costumes. I cannot wait for the costumes. That's like the biggest thing, right? Melascula's costumes what I'm waiting for. Especially Galland's as well. I love Galland. Blue Galland's always been one of my top units, right? But that's it. That's all we have. That's all we can do is speculate what they're going to do. I honestly think they're going to add an extra skill to Galland so that he can buff himself. And I think they're going to add an extra skill to Melascula so she can ignite, right? Because normally they add extra skills to the final bosses. It's like, for instance, Escanor. Escanor got extra skills added to him for the second phase, right? Where it was an AoE attacking card, right? So they're probably going to get extra skills added to help add on to what they do, right? Especially with her Blaze and especially his amplified attack cards, right? Anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next video. Bye bye!